Hi, my name's Justin Latimer. I'm going to show you a Medieval 2 Total War battle replay. This time, classic rivalry, France versus England. April's Fool's Day. Another battle from April's Fool's Day. I will be playing as the French. My opponent is playing as the English. If I recall, this was a pretty fun battle. So here we are as France. The battle map is Lombardy. So it's a tad bit northern Italian. But you know, the French and English will fight anywheres, anytime. I've also brought a pike-heavy army here. I've invested in these mercenaries, Swiss pikemen. Swiss pikemen were some of the most famous mercenaries of their time period. I've also put experience upgrades on them because I want them to have higher attack and defense. And there's really not a lot of ways you can upgrade mercenaries. I can't upgrade their armor, so I can just give them some experience. I believe you can also upgrade their attack. But other than that, there's not a lot you can do for mercenary units, as they do not belong to your faction. Also, these guys have German accents, so this was a pretty interesting army for me. It's multi-ethnic. In the background here, I have Scots Guard, and these are Scottish men who have learned the longbow and have employed themselves gainfully, I might add, with the French. I've also brought 2 units of dismounted noble knights. Aggressive, scary Frenchmen with poleaxes. Similar to the English knights that the English can field. I've also brought dismounted chivalric knights. And these are French noblemen who have decided to fight on foot instead of mounted. But I have plenty of mounted guys too. And I'm using the gendarme cavalry of the later ages. And the reason why I've chosen gendarmes is gendarmes have really good charge, and they're also cheaper than a lot of French cavalry units. I've also got some general's bodyguard here, and I've upgraded their armor so that they look cooler. They're armored in Gothic plate. I brought a serpentine. My English opponent does not have many troops that are visible. You can see here that there are probably some longbowmen behind these. Dismounted English knights, heavy billmen, retinue longbowmen, 2 culverins. Smart decision for my opponent to bring some artillery, as I have some. I can see some retinue longbowmen now. They're now firing on my troops. I should be able to retaliate pretty soon as well with my Scots Guard. Scots Guard are well armored. They're able to fight both as infantry and as archers. And I'm within range of the English. Let's see how the English like a taste of their own medicine. I've also brought some French mounted archers. These guys also have longbows, but they use them for horse. They're not a unit that the French would have used much. In fact, history tells us that they were only used once. A king paid a lot of money to have these guys trained to use longbow from horse. And he was so disappointed with their performance that he never once again had the technique repeated. But the Creative Assembly decided to make them a unit in the game anyways. They did exist once, and they could be used pretty well. They're nowhere near as reliable as the more horse archer oriented armies, but they are useful. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to crush my opponent with my infantry while it's being supported by my archers. I like the plaid and the fleur-de-lis that these guys have. Good mix of French and Scot. So I'm getting close to the opponent now. And here are my dismounted noble knights engaging the enemy dismounted feudal knights. I'm going to reinforce with my dismounted chivalric knights, who are just itching for a fight. And the Swiss pikemen are coming up the rear. Victory is a distinct possibility for my Swiss pikemen. Well supported with my upper infantry, pikemen can be used rather well. They were a very popular troop of the Renaissance. Most armies, in fact, being composed of pike and muskets. My opponent's done some pretty smart things here. He had his English knights attack my Scots Guard. My Scots Guard hold up pretty well though, and I'm also able to support with my gendarmes. My gendarmes will then charge against the English from behind. My French mounted knights here, who are competent in hand-to-hand fighting, have just charged the back of these English knights, who are now down to 9 men. They can also fire as they retreat, so they are proving their versatility. They have the range of a longbow on a horse, so they're a very useful unit. You have to keep in mind that they're not a regular horse archer unit. They're a highly mobile, fast, long-range unit.
Now.
It's somewhat utterly ridiculous, but also a little bit amazing. They're a very expensive unit though. They cost about 1,000 florins to bring. I brought 2 of them, so 2,000 florins of my army are invested in these French mounted archers, which is a lot. I think that that's fair though, considering the fact that it's a highly elite unit that wasn't used very often.
Our men are under attack. We need to act.
So I've done pretty good in the infantry engagement. As you can see, most of the English army is pretty ragtag at this point. Most of my army is doing pretty well. My pikemen and my swordsmen and my dismounted French knights have all held up pretty well. My cavalry as well have done a pretty good job against my opponent's cavalry. I'm marching my Scots Guard closer. This way I'll be able to use them as infantry to finish what's left of the enemy very quickly. And so my Scots Guard surge in and my opponent runs most of his troops. They're now routing.
Christendom will be awed by our victory here today.
And there we are. Victory for France. And I finally captured the enemy general. So I deployed 1,061 men against 1,041. The numbers are pretty close. Men lost. I lost 380. My opponent, Mr. Shiver, lost 865 men remaining. I have 681 men remaining. My opponent has 176 men remaining. Enemies killed. I killed 732. I captured 127. My opponent killed 412, and he captured 4. Casualties inflicted. My general took down 54 men. My gendarmes took down 28 and 74. One unit took down 8, so it didn't do that well. One unit took down 19. My Swiss pikemen took down 43, 56, and 23, and 16. Scots Guard, 38, 42, 45, and 54. Dismounted Noble Knights, one unit of Dismounted Noble Knights took down 2 men. Not very impressive. Outnumbered took down 20. One unit of Dismounted Chivalric Knights took down 32. One unit of Dismounted Chivalric Knights took down 70. French Mounted Archers, 44 and 41. Very good for a weird kind of unit. And Serpentine took down 28. Good game to my opponent. I think that some of the things he could have done differently were to use the forest more. He could have moved back into this high ground here and made me fight him here. I did have a terrain advantage with my hill, so that helped me out quite a bit. I had a lot of fun though, and it was a good game. Good game to my opponent. Get you some French and English carnage here. Thank you for watching. I'll have more videos for you soon.